I'm going to start the tote that I use for my pond mister from scratch, because my original one, like I mentioned before, is on my 3rd year, and from sitting out in the sun on the side of my house, I should have covered it up. So my suggestion is put a blanket or some kind of a tarp over it, because the sun did damage the plastic and I see some small cracks showing up in it. So I went out this morning and I purchased all the parts that I need to create another one, and I figured I would just film the whole process so you can see what it takes to make the large tote. This is a 77-gallon tote from Home Depot. It's the HDX. I went with this big old monster because, number one, it holds a lot of water, and I never have to open it up during my whole Halloween show. So it lasts a good month and a half running every night, and I never have to put any water in this thing. And in fact, after the season, there's still a lot of water left in here. So another plus to the big guy like this is my cooler that holds my bottles of water. Frozen bottles of water fits in here. The pond mister, the fog machine, all the straps, and all the small pieces of pipes and elbows all fit in this bin in the off season. So that's why I went with this size tote here. Again, you don't need this this big of a tote. You can probably go with a 55-gallon or smaller, but this is just what I used. So now the tools you're going to need is going to be a drill. You're going to need a 3/16" bit. You're going to need a 4-inch hole saw. You're going to need some. This is 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch expandable weather stripping, which is going to go along the top edge, which I'll show you. You got to get yourself some, make sure it's 100% silicone. You got to make sure it's this right here, 100% silicone. Don't get the siliconized because it's a water-based and it's not going to last for you. So this stuff is going to dry like rubber after you put it on. And then you're going to get two 4-inch, these are 3-inch toilet flanges. This will accept the 3-inch pipe that I connect all my parts with. And also my long pipe that runs in my front yard is all 3-inch. So you're going to drill a 4-inch hole because you need to cover this outer diameter, because this is going to go through the tote. And then I went with all stainless steel screws because it's going to be in water all its life. So it's going to have a lot of all that mist and everything hitting them. So these are 10 by 24-inch screws, which is really nice because they fit in these flanges really nice. They countersink in there. So it makes a nice little flush finish there. So these are 1 inch long by 10/24. These are number 10/24 lock nuts. And these are number 10 fender washers. I think they're 1.25" washers. Again, all stainless steel. I go with the bigger washers because this plastic is really thin and flexible. So with these washers like here, it gives me a nice bigger surface area when I put the nut on there to prevent any kind of pulling or denting of the plastic. Now I'm going to move on to show you how I built the large tote for the water and the pond mister. First things first is I painted this lid black so it just doesn't stand out. So got lots of bugs here tonight. So I'll paint this black. These holes here, I just get a piece of good old black Gorilla tape. I'll cover the holes here. I'll also cover another piece of tape on the inside. So then I'm going to end up putting the weather stripping all around here. This is going to expand to 1 inch tall and it's already 1 inch wide. So it's going to be a nice, and it's going to condense down to 1/4 inch when the lid's on there to really create a really nice seal. You're still going to get a little leakage, but it's pretty minimal. Then I'm going to drill two 4-inch holes, one here and one here, and so what you want to do is you want to put your toilet flange here. You probably want to leave about a finger's width or maybe about an inch or so. But I'm going to mark where I want it. I'm just going to get a silver Sharpie and just make my my circle here. You want to drill it right where this little part sticks out right here, because it's a little bit so you're not doing this kind of stuff here. So get it right in the middle here, and then one on each side, and then it takes 8 screws. And then what I do is if you look here, if you look at it this way, you have 2 sides here and here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom, but you have nothing on these sides, which is great because it kind of hangs off the sides here. So you want to set it so your this is pointed straight up. So you can get all the meat of the plastic with your screws on these 4 and on these 4 on the bottom here. So then I'm going to set up my camera on a time lapse and tote that holds the ultrasonic pond mister is done. Now I'm going to recap everything you saw in that time-lapse video. So I painted the lid black. I put the heavy-duty waterproof tape over all the holes on the lid on the front and the back. There's the tape on the back also. I added the 1-inch weather stripping all the way around. I drilled 2 4-inch holes for the toilet flanges. I installed the 2 toilet flanges. So the first thing I did was I put a bunch of 100% silicone all the way around, gobbed it all in there, squished it all in there. Then I drilled 8 3/16 inch holes to accept the 1024 stainless steel screws. These are 1024 by 1 inch long stainless steel screws. I got them, pushed them all through there. Then around on the other side here, I put these 1.25 inch stainless steel fender washers to give me some good surface area to lock it in really nice. And I also use these number 10 lock nuts. So now I'll get everything all set up on the side of the house, fill it up with water, put the pond mister in there, and button it all down and show you how it all works. It's time to set up my Halloween light show. I have Michelle, my amazing wife of 35 years, who puts up with all my projects. She's helping me with the camera today. So let's get started. So I got my fog box here that I store everything in, and it also acts as my pond mister. This gets filled with water and my pond mister goes in here. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and get everything set up so you can see how everything is set up over here. So first I cut this piece of plywood that goes on the lid. Put that aside. That's for my fog machine. So this is my my tub here. I got my blocks of wood for my fog machine. I'll set this over here. This pipe will go over here for my cooler. Then I got this cooler here is going to be filled with a bunch of frozen bottles of water. So let's get this guy hooked up here. And then this one will hook up, move this closer. And this will hook up right here. Just like that. Okay. These straps are all used to tie the lid down. I use 4 on this tub and 2 on the cooler. It really cinches everything down and compresses all this weather stripping, and it really cuts the leakage down. There's the fog machine. That's a fog machine I use. It's a Chauvet DJ 1600. This thing's a beast. It puts out a lot of fog. And this is the pipe for my fog machine to blow into. This is going to go here. Get all these straps out of here. All right, in here, this is where I store my ultrasonic pond mister. I'm going to take this guy out. So this is a 12 head pond mister. This is going to create a bunch of nice wet mist in here that's going to get picked up as the fog goes through here. It's going to pick up all this really dense wet mist, help cool down the fog a little bit and make it denser. Then it's going to pass into this chiller here, which I'll explain. So I'm going to set this in here. This tub here will get filled up with water. I'll fill the water up to about here. And what's great about this pond mister is it has these floats on it. So no matter what level the water is, this pond mister will always stay at the optimum level inside here to keep it running, because it has this little trigger right here. And if this is not at the set height, it will not run the mister. So these things are awesome. I will fill this up, and I won't even open it up or add any water to it for the whole season. It usually goes for about a month and a half running every night, and there's still going to be water left in here. That's why I went with this size tub. 2 reasons I went with this size tub. One, it holds a lot of water, and I'll never have to worry about filling it up with water during my show. And as you can see, I store all my stuff in here. My cooler, my fog machine, the mister, all the pipes and straps. Only thing that's not stored in here is all my long pipes that I use to go up and over my wall and through my yard. So anyways, so this pond mister will sit in here. I will fill this up with water and put the pond mister in there and button everything up and put the fog machine on it, and then run a test and show you. So back to the cooler. So now after all the mist, the fog machine is going to blow in here. It's going to pick up all that nice mist in there. It's cool it down a little bit. Then it's going to pass into this cooler that I just took an old. I just grabbed the cooler. I think I got this at Walmart. It's in their sporting goods section there. Any cooler will work. So I drilled and I put these toilet flanges in here, just like here. I have a separate video of how I built this box, which I will post that. You'll see that, and I'll show you how I installed these flanges. So I put one on the inside on the cooler. I didn't need it. I wasn't sure, so this one is not needed, but you will need one here if you wanted to do what I did. So what's going to happen is I also made a little tray. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. This just out of PVC pipe, just to hold my just to hold this tray here. This is a you see this in office buildings on fluorescent lights. It's a light diffuser, and I just cut it. They sell it in sheets over at Home Depot, and I just cut it to fit for this. The reason why I have a pipe in here is this. I will put a bunch of frozen bottles of water in here, which I will show you when I do that, and then I will go ahead and put the tray in here, but I'll leave it out so I can show you. What's going to happen is the fog is going to come in here. It's going to get all these really, really cold bottles of water, and then this tray is going to go on top like this, and then it's going to force all that fog through more cold bottles of water. Then it's going to hit this lid and then force down into here and then go out and out to my yard. And the reason why I did this is I saw other systems where they just run a pipe straight through, and I thought, you know what, it's not going to get all the value of all that cold bottles of water in there. So by me adding this was allowing that fog to really get all around those cold frozen bottles of water and get as cold as possible, and then come out of the tub. I filled the tote up with water. I have the 12-head ultrasonic pond mister floating in there. The pond mister has a cord coming out of it, which will head over to the power supply. So I just take the cord and just kind of mash it in the weather stripping here. So when the lid goes on it, it's going to create a nice seal. This is the power supply. It is a waterproof power supply. And I will have that sitting next to the fog machine once I put the lid on here. So the power supply is plugged into a Wi-Fi outdoor plug. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And there you go. So you can see instantly this really cool mist that's developing in there. Eventually, this tub will get filled up with that mist. You can see how it's already traveling out into the cooler where I keep my frozen bottles of water. It's even starting to come out here where the fog machine is going to be blowing into. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on it, put the plywood, set up the fog machine, and fill up the cooler with a bunch of bottles of water. So anyways, before I fill the cooler up with the bottles of water, you can see already the mist coming in here. So what I'm going to do is I did a whole setup of how I built this, but it's just going to pass underneath here. I'm going to put a bunch of bottles of water right underneath, set this down, put more bottles of water on here. The fog is going to come up through all that cold bottles of water, and then it's going to come through here instead of just passing straight through. As you saw in the video earlier, I filled the tub up with water. I put the 12-head ultrasonic pond mister in there, and then I went ahead and put the lid on. I used my straps to cinch everything down and really compress that weather stripping. I got my fog machine installed. I use this tote here on top to protect me from any sudden rainfalls. So that works out really cool. And I got the clear version that way I can kind of see what's going on in here. Again, the fog machine is all set up. Like I mentioned before, you want to leave yourself about, maybe a finger and a half to 2 fingers of space in between here. Don't choke it up. It makes a huge difference when you have it away from the entrance to the tub. It almost doubles the volume. It's I guess they call it a Venturi effect. And so I got my situated my fog machine at the right height with the pieces of wood and some different thicknesses to get it to the optimum level here to get in there, to blow the fog in there. I love this fog machine because it has all kinds of settings. I can set my intervals, every 15 minutes, all the way up to every hour, to even a few. Actually, no, these are seconds. I'm sorry. No, these are minutes. They're minutes. So yeah, from half a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Your duration. These are in seconds. You can have it going from 1 to 15 seconds on a blast. And then if you want how much output you want. So I put mine on maximum, but you can adjust the volume. And this is the power supply for the pond mister that's inside my tub. It is a waterproof pond mister, but I still put it over here and cover it up. I do want to give a shout out to my friend Lance. These gaskets are amazing. These things go in between your plugs for outdoor, and I ran these all last year on all my props outside, and went through some really heavy rains, and not one GFI tripped in my house. He even makes these little terminators so if you have any plugs that you're not using, you just put one of these gaskets and put this terminator in there. They work awesome. So anyways, so the fog will blow into here. It'll pick up all that mist that's being generated by the pond mister in here. It's going to come through here. Let me go some of this. You can see there's a whole bunch of frozen bottles of water in here. So the fog's coming to the bottom. It's going to rise up through all these frozen bottles of water. It's going to hit the lid, hit this lid right here, and then it's going to force it down into this tube right here. Then I'll close this up. I'll get these straps over here and I'll cinch them down. So this one will take 2 straps. It'll look like that. And it'll really compress all this thick weather stripping. It'll just compress it down really good and minimize the leakage. And here is the tote that's filled with water and has the 12-head ultrasonic pond mister in it. It has the lid on it. I put the fog machine on it. I put different thicknesses of wood to line it up with the inlet tube. I got it all strapped down with tie downs to really compress the lid and the weather stripping around it. I did the same with the cooler. It's going into here. This is filled up with frozen bottles of water. I'm using 2 tie downs on the cooler and 4 tie downs on the tub with the pond mister. Let me put it on continuous here and see how we're doing with leakage. All right, so far so good. A little bit coming out of the cooler, but not so bad. I'm going to show you what I did to release the fog out of the pipes in my front yard. I tried the pipe that had all the holes in it. I didn't like the effect because it just was like little spits, little lines of holes where the fog was coming out. So I tried a new method. I took a circular saw and I cut a slit down the pipe. But I made a mistake the first time. Don't make my mistake. I cut the slit all the way on both ends, and you can see the pipe is real flexible. And I wasn't able to join the pipe, so I'll save you the price of ruining a piece of pipe. So what I found out on my other second pipe, I'm going to fix this one, is you got to leave some meat on here. See, this goes on there really nice. I mean, it's even hard to get off. So what I found is I will leave myself 6 inches. I'll leave 6 inches, make a mark on the pipe. And then same thing on the other end. Get rid of this one, which I ruined. And then measure my 6 inches here. I don't know if pipe is still in the camera range here. I don't know. I think so. It looks like it might be. Let's see here. Yep, 6 inches right there. And then I will set up the camera on a high-speed time-lapse and go ahead and cut the pipe. You want to make 2 passes. And what I'll do is I'll use the line, the writing on the pipe as my guide. So I'll just follow this as my guide. I'll make 1 pass, and then I'll make a second pass. You want to leave maybe a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch gap in there, and then you're going to see in the video where the fog just rolls evenly out of the groove that I cut in the pipe. I finished cutting the pipe. It's not perfectly straight, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. The gap is an average about 1/8 of an inch. There's a couple spots it might be a little bit more. And as you can see, I left 6 inches here so I can connect more pipes without the pipe collapsing on me. And if you follow across, same thing here. I cut my slit and I left 6 inches over here. So now I'll go out and hook it all up and show you how cool it looks when it rolls, all the fog rolls out of here. Here is my setup. I just did a leak test. I made a little video of that earlier. Everything looks good. So showing you how it runs. So it starts off with this tub filled with water. It has a 12-head pond mister in it. My fog machine sits on here. I have it leveled off to the level I need with different pieces of wood. I left myself about a 1.5 to 2 finger gap into the inlet hole. The power supply is here. I have this plug, the fog machine and the pond mister going into a plug that runs over to a Wi-Fi outdoor plug that I can control it with my phone and just set times for the turn on and off. I want to give a shout out to my friend Lance. These things are awesome. They're gaskets. They go right in between your plugs sockets. You can actually dunk this whole thing in water and it won't trip any of your GFI outlets. I used these all throughout my display last year and I didn't trip any GFIs with some super heavy rains we had. He also sells these little terminators, so if you're using a plug that nothing's plugged into, you just put a little gasket right in between and you terminate it with this and you're good to go. But anyways, so it runs through here, runs down into here, into this cooler that's filled with a bunch of frozen bottles of water. It runs up the wall here. There is the reason why I have this pan here, I drilled a little 3/16" hole in the bottom right here. So any moisture that doesn't make it up the pipe will just, won't sit in here trapped. It'll just kind of drip down into this pan. And then it's going to come up and over this wall there. And then come down. So here's my first laser placement. So what I do with the lasers, I literally just mount them on a block of wood. Again, I just use those little gaskets there so nothing, any kind of moisture gets in there, it won't trip any GFIs. And then I just take, this is a tool, a little parts bin that they sell at Home Depot. It has a little part right here. I just cut it off and I created like a little shield. So it just sits right there and covers everything up. And then you can see the tubing here has all the slits cut along like I showed you in the other video. This is almost 30 feet of pipe here. I know that's a 10-footer and that's a 10-footer. This I'm guessing is about an 8 or a 9 maybe footer. I can measure it to get exact. Here's the other laser. Same thing. I just stuck it on a piece of wood. I run cords to the plugs and put them on a Wi-Fi timer to turn on and off. I just put this shield on there for any surprise rains that I get. And you have to make sure that the lasers there and there are facing the viewing area. So I made another video where I come and I do this and I turn and then you see the really cool effect of that laser in swamp. So there it is during the day, what it looks like.